When you or a loved one are prescribed a new medication for your heart, you're not just asking, does this medication help my heart? Or are you really asking, will this help me live longer? In the world of medical research, we have two ways of answering this question. We have CV death, or cardiovascular death, or all cause death, or all cause mortality. And surprisingly, the measure that seems the most narrow, like CV death, is actually the one that's more prone to being biased. Today, we're going to break down why the true measure of a drug's success is far more straightforward and far more critical. Welcome back to this channel. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Herb the Heart Pharmacist, where we go over everything heart medication related to help you choose and use wisely. In a clinical trial, the endpoint is the outcome that we measure to see if a drug works. CV mortality tracks deaths due to cardiovascular problems like heart attacks, strokes, heart failure, whereas all-cause mortality tracks deaths in general. So either a patient's died or patients have not died. It's very binary. Now let's talk about one major issue that I have with CV mortality or cardiovascular deaths. It's the issue of misclassification. Determining the cause of death by looking at things like a death certificate for many patients and medical records can be very subjective, even in very detailed medical records, believe it or not. Was the death really due to a heart event? Or did the patient also die of, say, like a pneumonia event and just ended up being in hospital for a really long time and then having blood clots, etc., etc. This is why even central adjudication, where experts review these cases, still leaves room for error and bias. For example, in a study that was recently done out of Australia, where elderly patients had their death certificates reviewed, up to 9% of those death certificates were actually misclassified for their cause of death. That's pretty high if you think about it. The boundary between cardiovascular death and non-cardiovascular death is often very blurry and often will require judgment. And if an outcome is subject to judgment, it's inherently a soft endpoint and susceptible to error. This is why all-cause mortality shines and is the ultimate unbiased outcome. A patient is either dead or alive. Very simple. There's no ambiguity. There's no misclassification. There's no need for subjective judgment. It's an objective, hard endpoint. And regulatory bodies like the FDA consider this the gold standard for this reason. It is the least subject to error. All-cause mortality is also patient-centered because it looks at the total survival outlook for the patient. A drug for heart failure might successfully lower heart failure hospitalizations and death maybe due to heart failure, but what if it also causes issues like cancer or puts these patients into a state where they need dialysis? If we only look at the cardiovascular deaths, we get a misleading and incomplete picture. Whereas all-cause mortality looks at both benefit and harms associated with the therapies. It gives you the full truth of what to expect of a drug's impact on the patient's overall health. So for patients already at risk for these non-cardiovascular issues like cancer, this comprehensive view is more crucial and I would say probably more generalizable. Now, even though all-cause mortality is the gold standard, it's not without its practical limitations. So the two biggest issues of all-cause mortality as an endpoint are statistical power as well as cost, because death from any cause is a relatively more rare event compared to a composite outcome of what they will usually use as a 3-point MACE is the CV death, non-fatal MI or non-fatal stroke, or CV death and heart failure hospitalizations. This is an issue more so with shorter trials, as you would need a much larger sample size, like tens of thousands, and a longer follow-up to detect a significant difference. This makes trials more time-consuming and expensive. But what I'm more concerned of are in short trials or small studies is that a true cardiovascular benefit might actually be diluted out if you throw in other causes of death like accidents or unrelated cancers. And if you have a high number of these non cardiovascular deaths that can mask the genuine cardiovascular benefit of the drugs, that can lead to a trial that is neutral or negative for the all cause mortality endpoint. While the use of all cause mortality as an endpoint poses practical challenges for researchers, it is the ultimate unbiased measure for survival. This is why I tend to glue my eyes to this endpoint whenever I'm looking at systematic reviews and meta-analyses. If you found this video helpful, I'd appreciate it if you give it a quick like, share it with a friend, and hit subscribe for more videos like these. Take care and remember to say no to drugs.